So the streamer and political commentator Nicholas J. Fuentes has been embroiled in another scandal recently. He has been outed as a member of the Dollhouse, a Twitter group chat for so-called transgender women and their allies. Rumors, accusations, and hearsay revolving around his sexuality have plagued Nick Fuentes for years, and this is yet another example of the ever-growing mountain of circumstantial evidence that he may not actually be all that straight. And after these tweets came to light, Nick Fuentes came out as a self-identified brat.
I'm brat. Okay, hey, I'm brat. Look at me. I'm brat. You want to talk about a messy bitch who says the wrong thing that gets him in trouble but parties through it? It's me.
Messy indeed, because this is only one of many scandals. Here is Nick Fuentes in 2018 liking a tweet saying, "It's okay to like traps," referring to boys who pretend to be girls.
Cool. Are traps gay? Yeah, traps are gay. I've always maintained traps are gay, of course. You have sex with a man, it's gay. There's no getting around that. Now that said, look, it's gay. I get it, 100%. I agree. Now that said, it's, we're in times where the women are not really meeting their obligations. So I'm not saying you're not. Look, if you have sex with a trap, you're gay. No doubt about that. And you should be ridiculed. You should be made fun of. But it's a little bit different than if you did it like 20 years ago. That's all I'm saying. If you in the 1960s were banging a trap, I would say, what's wrong with you? Like, I would say that now. I would say, well, you're some kind of sick freak. We have all these beautiful girls, and they're normal, and you have sex with a trap. What's wrong with you? But in 2019, it's like, well, it's different. It's a different circumstance, different options. You're still disavowed. I disavow. It's condemned. It's gay. It's all that. But, it's just different. I think everybody understands that.
Here are images from Nick Fuentes' old Discord posted to Imgur in 2018, where he had a channel called Catboys, where Fuentes and his followers would post images of animated underage boys being sexualized, often referred to as Shotokan. And here is Doll Pariah, the owner of the Trans Ally group chat, declaring his feelings for Nick Fuentes. Groyper accounts had manufactured responses on hand to excuse the actions of their leader. To me, this seems like cope because there's really no reason he should have been lurking around in there. He was obviously an active member. You can see him responding to things here. And just because more incriminating things weren't leaked doesn't mean he wasn't more involved, It seems to me as though Milo Yiannopoulos, as he said, was trying to irritate Nick rather than actually out him and potentially sink and end his career. Personally, I don't really care that Nick may or may not be interested in transgender people or perhaps men, because he was also caught on Instagram having liked a page called Aesthetic Boys. If Nick's proclivities lie this way, that's not really my problem. What I do take issue with is the fact that he's not good at his job. Many people, many young men on the dissident right today, look to this guy as a leader. But he's not a competent leader. Not only is he being embroiled in scandals like these, he's telling people that he's not going to vote for Trump. And he has said a bunch of other non-optical things, which I personally disagree with, that have permanently killed his chances of entering into the mainstream. There is also a record of Nick having associated with potentially dangerous individuals such as Ali Alexander, who is alleged to have messaged an underage Groyper and member of Nick's America First group, attempting to pressure this person into an inappropriate act. Although Nick is, of course, intent on defending his reputation and credibility.
It's never going after what I say. You don't have to like me. You can think whatever you want about me. You can think I have certain sexual proclivities. You can think that, I'm a Democrat plant. You can think whatever you want. I'm a troll. I'm unserious, whatever. Look at the information.
The thing is, though, I've actually met Nick Fuentes in person, which is more than most people can boast online. I met him back in 2019 at this after party after CPAC, and I tried working with him, and he let me down. And I concluded from that he was unserious. There is a conspiracy at my college to get the College Republicans group, which I was a member of, deplatformed and kicked off campus. And we had evidence that radical left-wing professors were colluding with members of our state GOP to have this happen, to have us kicked off campus. And I went to Nick in the hopes that he would help use his platform to shed light on this issue, to expose rhinos in the Republican Party, to expose traitors, to help people understand why the right hasn't been that effective in this country. Because it's just riddled with all these plants and these traitors and these backstabbers. But Nick let me down. So I had his contact info. I was in touch with him over Discord. And when it was finally time to have a meeting with him to discuss the situation that me and my college Republicans were in, he blew us off. He didn't show. He wasn't there. Instead, he sent his errand boy, Jaden McNeil, in his place to try and recruit new members for their little America First group, which, of course, they've had a falling out over anyways. He isn't even working with Jaden McNeil now. So that really told me all I needed to know about Nick, that he was an unserious, unproductive, unprofessional person.
Am I right or am I wrong? It's never Nick is wrong. It's never I know more than him. These people don't know the first thing. They don't have the vaguest clue. Ask any of these people the first thing. They don't know. But it's always, oh, don't look at this guy. Don't pay this guy any attention. Don't listen to what he has to say. This is a discrediting thing. And that guy's just a fucking imbecile. I saw that tweet. First of all, it was all poorly written. So this guy's a Fed. My reasons are he calls himself racist. You can't do that. And then everyone's like, this is retarded. Like, these are not real reasons. And then he's like, well, hey, I'm not a professional. Okay, fuckface. So you just make the claim. Of course, every criticism of me now gets 1 billion impressions. You know, people get no engagement. They shit on me. They get huge engagement.
What I believe Fuentes is referring to here is the tweet by the YouTuber What If Altist, and it's really not that ridiculous of a claim. A while ago, Nick Fuentes was possibly going to partner with Alex Jones and appear as a regular commentator on Alex Jones's InfoWars show, but that didn't pan out because someone apparently warned Alex Jones that Nick Fuentes was under some heavy surveillance by an alphabet agency. You know, not every Fed necessarily has to be some sort of active agent or an individual who reports directly to a handler, but it could be a person who's basically been turned into a honeypot because they are being watched like a hawk by a particular organization. But it's also worth noting that aside from officially dumping Trump in saying that he won't vote for him in 2024, Nick has made some oddly favorable comments about Kamala Harris's campaign.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? It is, I'm not going to lie, it is funny. Like, they have a better meme game than Trump. The Trump campaign's meme game sucks. Absolutely sucks. And you know what? Somebody was telling me this, and he's right. Kamala has adopted Brat. She's Brat now. She adopted the Charlie XCX album. If Trump was smart, he would have adopted the Yeet album. He would have adopted the whole Yeet aesthetic or something like that. Vultures, Yeet. They would have done something similar. Big problem with the GOP is that they're all so fucking lame. They are lame. Trump was the only cool one. Now he's like kind of a dork. You can't actually turn your nose up and say, rap music? That's for black people. Oh, you listen to that? That's for faggots. Like, you actually have to be high in openness to be creative. But yeah, Kamala should not be underestimated. W. Brat.
The thing about these Kamala memes is they're not funny or good at all. They are so clearly forced and directly endorsed by the power structure. They're not real, they're not organic, they're not authentic. Like, it's astonishing. It boggles the mind how Nick Fuentes could sit there and talk about the Trump team's lack of creativity while endorsing the Brat and coconut memes. Like, they're just so obviously top down. This is embarrassing. And I have a certain point to make, which I feel is important because a lot of conversation goes on online around Nick Fuentes. A lot of people talk but they really don't know what they're speaking in reference to. And I've met the man in person, albeit briefly, but that's still important to actually break that barrier and engage with a figure online in person. Lets you know something, lets you know how they really are beyond the screen. And I had a friend, and we were talking about Nick Fuentes, and he believed that Nick Fuentes was serious when he said that he was an incel. Nick Fuentes has referred to himself as an incel. He thought that Nick Fuentes was actually serious and that he legitimately identified as an incel. And I said, there's absolutely no way. Nick Fuentes, even though I don't like him, I don't think he's a good leader, I don't think he's a safe person to be around, he is still a socially competent person. And he could have a woman right now. He's 25. He could be married and have a woman and have started a family if he so chose. If he actually wanted to, he could have these things. And it doesn't matter if you have certain views or certain opinions, or you say certain things, or you have a certain reputation. If you are a confident man, if you carry yourself with confidence, if you carry yourself with dignity, if you have self-respect and groundedness, women will respect that and women will gravitate to it. And it doesn't really matter what you say. So Nick Fuentes' whole I've actually been celibate this whole time and now I'm 25 thing, I don't buy that. I don't believe it. Any man who is as socially competent as he is would have had at least one woman by now. Either that or he's just not interested in women at all, which seems to be another very real possibility. And his fans, the Groypers, can continue to defend him and pretend that his behavior is normal and that everything's fine and that all these are just hearsay and accusations of people trying to bring him down. But he's banned off of major platforms. He's already had his assets seized once. He's burned through a lot of bridges. There are a lot of people who are unwilling to work with him now. So it seems to me like he's kind of worked himself into a bit of a corner here. And I highly doubt that this will be the last time that there is some sort of controversy over Nick Fuentes' sexuality.
Look, I get it. Not everybody is an incel. Not everybody's a loner. Not everybody's a freak like me. Not everybody's an absolutely irredeemable freak, antisocial, ambiguous sexuality.
So that fact alone, coupled with the things he's said in the past and the people he's chosen to associate with and the fact he's almost certainly still being monitored by the FBI right now as we speak, leads me to say that he doesn't have a real future. That America First is not inevitable. America First led by Nick Fuentes, certainly not inevitable at all. And that his career isn't going to go anywhere. You know, he'll probably have a couple of rich benefactors who keep him propped up, and he's going to be around just as a figure on the internet for decades to come, but I don't think he has a real future at all. I mean, Nick Fuentes has already shown to me, just from personal experience, that he isn't actually serious about engaging with or influencing real-life party politics. So I don't see why I don't see him maturing at some point to where he actually is. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think he's content being this contrarian, being this gadfly, being this really not anti-talking head, if you will, underground talking head, infamous talking head, online just challenging people and opposing everything. I mean, his Groypers are already widely considered a nuisance and have alienated themselves from other figures on the dissident right. So, again, it feels like he's kind of boxed himself into this one particular corner and he's just unwilling to attempt to even rebuild certain bridges. And he just has such a bad reputation now. I just don't see this going anywhere positive. Nick also has a habit of just saying very mean-spirited things sometimes, which is also really alienating. Like, he's mocked there was that Waukesha car attack in Wisconsin a while back, and he was mocking the victims of that. And he's also taken some odd positions in regards to the things going on in the UK right now. I don't even really know if I can talk about it on YouTube, but that's another thing that people are kind of up in arms about. So he's just been alienating himself from the rest of the dissident right. The Groypers as well have kind of worn out their welcome and are just now generally perceived as a nuisance. You know, the days of trolling Charlie Kirk at TPUSA events are over, and now they basically just exist to hound people that Nick gets into spats with online, and that has also contributed to a lot of bridges being burned, and he's, you know, not building up any more goodwill with people because of this sort of behavior. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please share it if you really liked it, and Red Channels will catch you in the next one.